picture this, right? You are walking into your local grocery store because you just want to grab, like, a single apple.
Okay, just an apple.
Yep, just one apple. But before the automatic doors even open, a guy in a suit steps right in front of you, and he thrusts this dense, 50-page legal waiver into your hands.
Oh.
And he says, sign this before you enter.
Right, which obviously nobody's going to do.
Exactly. You're not going to stand there in the parking lot and read 50 pages of legalese. You just want the apple.
Yeah.
So, you just blindly sign it. You have absolutely no idea if you just agreed to let them track your physical movements down every single aisle.
Or like sell your shopping habits to your health insurance company.
Right. You don't know.
Yeah.
And frankly, in that exact moment, you just don't have the energy to care.
And I mean, the sheer absurdity of that scenario in the physical world, it really highlights how fundamentally broken our digital interactions have become.
Totally.
Because we accept this astonishing level of friction and, obfuscation online simply because it's the norm.
Yeah, it's just how the internet works now.
Right. Like you open an article, the screen grays out, and you hit this wall of text with a dozen toggles and a giant brightly colored accept all button.
And you just click it to make it go away.
Exactly. The entire mechanism, it basically relies entirely on user fatigue.
It does. And, for you listening to this deep dive, as an audience that actively follows the tech space, you already know the underlying economics of that whole transaction.
Right. The basics aren't new.
Yeah. We are well past the era of being shocked that data brokers exist. Or that our clicks are just being quietly monetized in the background.
Oh, yeah. That's old news.
But what we are experiencing right now is this massive pendulum swing in how platforms are actually being forced to handle that initial interaction.
Yes, a huge shift.
So today, we're pulling our insights from a singular, highly impactful piece of analysis published by Technology Review.
It's a really fantastic piece.
It is. And the research looks at how the massive data requirements of the AI era are accelerating this concept called privacy-led user experience or privacy-led UX.
Right.
So, okay, let's unpack this because this isn't just about, making cookie banners slightly less annoying for you.
No, not at all.
It is a complete structural overhaul of how digital products are engineered right from the ground up.
Yeah, and the Technology Review piece, it essentially defines privacy-led UX as the complete integration of two departments that historically, they operated in total isolation.
Which are?
Product design and legal compliance.
Oh, great.
Because for the last decade, designers would basically build the app to look beautiful and frictionless. And then
the lawyers get involved.
Exactly. The lawyers come in at the last second and bolt this legally binding roadblock onto the front door just to ensure the company wouldn't get sued under privacy frameworks like GDPR, CCPA.
Right, it's totally reactive.
Yeah. But privacy-led UX dictates that privacy controls shouldn't be an afterthought or just like a defensive legal mechanism.
So what should they be?
They need to be native features of the user interface itself. Features that actively build a reciprocal relationship with the user.
Okay, but I have to push back on the premise here for a second. Just looking at it from like a developer's perspective.
Sure.
If I'm running a platform and my completely deceptive accept all button gets a 98% click-through rate, why on earth would I break my own funnel?
That is the big question.
Right. Like, if those dark patterns successfully hoover up all the data I need to run my business, what is the actual strategic incentive to shift toward transparency? It seems counterintuitive.
Well, what's fascinating here is the critical distinction between data volume and data fidelity.
Okay. Volume versus fidelity.
Yeah. The analysis points out a massive flaw in the traditional hoard everything model.
Which is?
When a company relies on coercive UX like tricking users into compliance, they inevitably end up polluting their own data set.
Because users fight back.
Exactly. Users who feel surveilled take active defensive measures. I mean, you've probably done this.
Oh, definitely.
People use VPNs to spoof their location. They input burner email addresses. They install these aggressive ad blockers that just scramble the tracking scripts entirely.
Yeah, I use like 3 different ad blockers myself.
Right. So the data that these companies harvest through coercion, it's inherently noisy, it's inaccurate, and ultimately it's incredibly low value.
Oh, I see. It's kind of the difference between a stalker and a personal chef.
Oh, I like that. How so?
Like if a stalker breaks into your pantry to figure out what you like to eat, They might see a jar of peanut butter and assume, oh, peanut butter is their favorite food.
Right.
But they don't realize you only bought it for a house guest and you actually have a severe peanut allergy.
Yes.
They have the data, sure, but the context is completely wrong.
Exactly.
But if you sit down with a personal chef and they simply ask you about your dietary restrictions, you willingly give them a highly accurate, high-fidelity map of your actual preferences.
That personal chef analogy captures the mechanics of what we call zero-party data perfectly.
Zero-party data.
Yeah. So zero-party data is information that a customer proactively and intentionally shares with a brand.
Right. They want the brand to know it.
Precisely. And it is the gold standard for training algorithms because the signal-to-noise ratio is pristine. There's no guesswork.
So privacy-led UX is basically the tool you use to get that zero-party data.
Exactly. It's the interface for it. You aren't just scraping behavioral exhaust in the background anymore. You're initiating this transparent, utility-driven exchange.
Like saying, tell us this, and we'll give you that.
Right. The interface might say, if you tell us what neighborhood you live in, we can optimize this delivery route to save you 20 minutes.
Oh, so the value proposition is super clear.
Yeah. The user sees the value, they understand the exact boundary of the request, and so they provide accurate data.
You know, that brings up the whole issue of passive inference, which is just a massive headache in machine learning right now.
Oh, it really is.
Like, this happens to me all the time.
Sure.
I buy a collar online for my sister's dog, right? And suddenly the recommendation algorithm just assumes I own a pet store.
Yep.
And it blasts me with dog food ads for the next 6 months. It's so annoying.
Because the algorithm is making massive, inaccurate inferences based purely on passive surveillance.
Exactly. But if I'm in a privacy-led UX framework, the interface actually gives me a mechanism to correct the model directly.
Yes, exactly.
Like a button that just says, hey, I don't own a dog, I bought a gift. And boom, I instantly fix the model for them.
And fixing that model, that is what saves the company an immense amount of money.
Because compute isn't cheap.
No, processing power is incredibly expensive. Training complex algorithms on garbage data wastes millions of dollars.
Wow, millions.
Yeah. So companies are finally realizing that abandoning dark patterns, it isn't just about dodging regulatory fines anymore.
It's an actual strategic advantage.
Right. It generates higher quality inputs that train infinitely better models.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Because applying this high-trust, zero-party data model to artificial intelligence, it creates a pretty profound structural paradox.
It really does. The tension is huge.
Right, because AI, particularly these large language models, they require a mind-boggling scale of information just to function.
Vast amounts of data.
Yeah. So on one side, we have privacy-led UX advocating for strict data minimization, right? Absolute user boundaries.
Right.
But then on the other side, we have these AI systems that are literally designed to recognize patterns across massive, unrestricted data sets.
Yep.
So how do these two forces not just, completely rip each other apart?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, resolving that exact tension is basically the defining engineering challenge of our current tech cycle.
Okay. So how do we resolve it?
The solution outlined in the source material, it isn't to cripple the AI by starving it of data.
Right, because then the AI is useless.
Exactly. Instead, you have to fundamentally restructure where and how the AI learns.
Okay, restructure it how?
This is where privacy-led UX becomes the crucial bridge for these really complex back-end technologies. Things like federated learning and differential privacy.
Okay, let's break the mechanics of that down for the listener.
All right.
Because I feel like federated learning is a perfect example of this.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a brilliant technical solution, but it desperately needs a good UX solution to actually work in the real world.
Exactly. So in a traditional machine learning model, your device sends all your raw personal data up to a centralized server in the cloud.
Right. All your photos, your texts.
Yeah, and the AI trains on it there and then sends the results back to your phone. But federated learning flips that entire architecture upside down.
How so?
The central server sends a miniature, like a blank slate version of the AI model down to your actual phone or laptop.
No, so the model comes to me.
Right. The model learns from your data locally, entirely on your device.
Wow.
And then it only sends the mathematical learnings, just the weights and adjustments, back to the cloud.
So my actual photos and texts?
They never leave your pocket.
That is wild. But, okay, from a user's perspective, if I don't know federated learning is happening, I'm still going to assume the app is just stealing my data.
Oh, 100%.
Right. Like if my keyboard app suddenly starts predicting my highly specific sentences perfectly, my immediate thought is going to be, oh, this company is reading all my text on their servers.
Right, which perfectly highlights why the engineering alone is totally insufficient without the UX layer.
Ah,
The,
okay.
the technology review piece really stresses this. The interface has to make this invisible privacy architecture visible.
And understandable.
Yes, immediately understandable to the user. The UX has to actively communicate, like, your data never leaves this device. We are processing this locally.
So it takes these crazy, complex cryptographic concepts and turns them into tangible user controls.
Exactly. Or take differential privacy as another example.
Okay, how does that one work?
Well, the back-end engineering involves injecting mathematical noise into a data set. That way, no individual user can be re-identified from the data.
Okay, but again, how do you visually represent mathematical noise to a user who doesn't have a computer science degree?
Right. You can't just show them the math. The UX has to translate that into a visual metaphor.
Like what?
Like blurring a map. Instead of showing a pinpoint on your exact house, the interface shows this fuzzy heat map of your whole city block.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it explicitly tells the user, hey, we only see the crowd, we don't see you.
Oh, I love that. So the interface itself literally serves as the proof of privacy.
Exactly. That visual translation shifts the burden of trust away from some dense legal document and places it directly into the product experience itself.
That is so smart.
But the analysis goes even further. It projects this out to a future state that completely upends how we interact with software.
Okay, where are we heading?
We are rapidly moving away from static interfaces, menus, toggles, settings, screens,
Right.
and we're moving toward conversational, autonomous AI agents.
So less pointing and clicking, more talking.
Yeah. We are looking at a world where you don't just click an app. You talk to an AI assistant that seamlessly manages your whole digital life across multiple platforms.
And that completely shatters the traditional concept of a privacy policy, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because a static checkbox basically assumes that your privacy preferences are permanent
Yeah,
and that they never change.
right, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, like you agree to share your location on a Tuesday, and the system just assumes you're perfectly fine sharing it every single day for the next 5 years.
Exactly.
But human privacy is inherently contextual.
Very much so.
Like, I might be perfectly comfortable sharing my real-time location with a ride-sharing app when I'm, standing on an unfamiliar street corner at midnight.
Sure, for safety.
Right. But I absolutely do not want that exact same app tracking me when I'm just sitting in my living room on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and that phenomenon that's known in the industry as context collapse.
Context collapse. What does that mean exactly?
It's when data given for one highly specific purpose is suddenly leveraged for a completely different purpose.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Right, like you give an app your face scan just to unlock your device locally, and then a year later, the company updates its term.
And suddenly they use that face scan to verify your age on some random third-party marketplace.
Exactly. The static checkbox model practically guarantees that context collapse will happen over time.
So how does privacy-led UX actually function when the interface isn't a screen full of toggles? Like when it's an intelligent, autonomous agent?
It requires a totally new approach.
Because if I have an AI assistant organizing my life, I really don't want to fill out a 50-point questionnaire about my boundaries before I'm allowed to use it.
Right, that would be exhausting. So the source material suggests a radical move toward what they call ephemeral consent.
Ephemeral consent.
Yeah, and this is facilitated directly by the AI itself. Instead of a front-loaded blanket agreement, the AI basically acts as a dynamic privacy negotiator.
A negotiator.
Yeah. It asks for the absolute minimum viable data it needs at the exact moment of utility. And then,
Let me guess. The permission expires.
exactly, the permission automatically expires the very moment the task is complete.
Give me a tangible example of how that interaction actually plays out in a user's day-to-day life.
Okay, imagine you ask your AI assistant to book a flight for an upcoming conference.
Okay, pretty standard task.
Right. Now, under the old model, the AI would demand persistent, 204/7 access to your calendar, your email inbox, and your financial data just to function at all.
Just to book one flight.
Right. But under a privacy-led UX model driven by an autonomous agent, the AI initiates a micro-negotiation.
What does that look like?
It says something like, I see you want to book a flight for next week. I need temporary access to your calendar for the month of October to find your open dates.
Okay.
And I need access to your digital wallet for a single one-time transaction. May I proceed?
Oh, wow. So it's highly contextual. The why is literally baked directly into the prompt.
Exactly. The AI explicitly ties the data request to the immediate tangible value it is providing to you in that exact second.
That makes so much more sense.
And crucially, once that flight is booked, that access is revoked automatically. The consent is truly ephemeral.
But I have to push back on the practicality of that.
Go for it.
Doesn't that introduce a massive amount of friction into the user experience?
In what way?
Well, the entire appeal of an AI assistant is automation, right?
Yeah.
If my autonomous agent has to stop and ask for permission every single time it wants to check my calendar or read an email or check the weather, I mean, it's not an assistant anymore.
Right. It's just annoying.
Yeah, it's like a hyper-needy intern. It seems like we're just trading one form of user fatigue, the wall of legal text, for a brand new form of fatigue, which is just constant granular micromanagement.
And that is the exact tightrope developers are attempting to walk right now.
It sounds impossible.
It's difficult, but the analysis argues that the solution lies in something called progressive profiling and behavioral learning.
Progressive profiling.
Yeah. The AI shouldn't just learn your schedule or your shopping habits. It needs to actually use machine learning to map your privacy boundaries over time.
Wait, so the machine learning algorithm isn't just focused on what I want to buy, but what I want to protect?
Yes, exactly. The AI builds a probabilistic model of your trust.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Right. So if you consistently grant it temporary access to your calendar for scheduling travel tasks, the AI learns that boundary.
And it adapts.
Yeah. Eventually, it might proactively ask you, hey, you've approved this calendar access the last 10 times we booked a flight.
Right.
Would you like me to just automatically manage calendar requests for travel from now on, or do you want me to keep asking you every time?
Oh, I see. It's treating consent as an ongoing fluid dialogue rather than just a binary switch.
Exactly. And conversely, if you repeatedly deny the AI access to, say, your health data or your financial history,
It stops asking.
yes, the system learns that strict boundary, and it stops asking entirely. It respects the hard no without degrading the rest of its functionality.
That is so cool.
It creates a deeply symbiotic relationship. The AI can only become more integrated into your life and therefore more useful to you if it continually proves that it can be trusted with your boundaries.
So the burden is actually off the user.
Exactly. The burden is no longer on you to go digging through some labyrinth of settings menus just to turn off a rogue permission.
Right. The AI actively audits itself and checks in with you.
Yes, it manages the privacy for you.
Wow. So what does this all mean? The core takeaway for you, listening to this right now, is to start actively evaluating the architecture of the tools you use every single day.
Absolutely.
Because we are moving past the era where data hoarding was just the default strategy for tech companies.
Thank goodness.
Right. As AI models become vastly more sophisticated, the companies that actually win will be the ones that ditch the dark patterns and those exhaustive legal waivers.
Yeah.
They will be the ones that recognize that high-fidelity data only comes from high-trust relationships.
So true.
So the next time a platform asks for your data, look closely at how they ask. Are they trying to fatigue you into compliance? Or are they initiating a transparent reciprocal exchange?
It's a vital distinction.
Because in the AI era, privacy isn't just a compliance checklist anymore. It is the core operating system of digital trust.
And, this raises a really important question to leave you with, especially as these autonomous agents become more conversational and, frankly, more human-like.
Oh, yeah?
If an AI is programmed to be highly empathetic, to learn your daily habits, and to actively negotiate for access to your life,
Right.
how do we ensure that this meaningful dialogue doesn't simply evolve into a much more sophisticated form of manipulation?
Oh, man. That's dark.
Think about it. When the negotiator isn't a static screen, but a highly persuasive, personalized intelligence that knows exactly how to ask you for a favor,
Wow.
where does the user interface end and the psychological engineering begin?
That is the exact tension we will all be navigating over the next few years. Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration.
It's been great.
We hope this deep dive gave you a much sharper lens through which to view the platforms and the algorithms that are shaping your digital life. Keep questioning the interfaces you use, demand better dialogues, and as always, stay curious.